here's another person who, well, I'm going to show you a screenshot with two people on it. One wonderful, one not. Gee, I wonder if you can guess which one. This is, of course, our dear friend Mark Hamill, who I share a birthday with, I would like to remind you. Wow, my voice got really loud when I said who for some reason. Interesting. Anyways, it's obviously the Force. This is Greg Kelly. This is a video entitled Kamala Harris wants the world to know she's a girl boss. Greg Kelly. Now, I don't know why this is a slam. I know why Greg Kelly thinks it's a slam, because he's still mad that occasionally on the bus he's expected to give up his seat to a woman, and he thinks there's something while he's torn between his trad wife right-wing beliefs and fuck these bitches, they never smile at me. So obviously he's got an issue, right? Yes, my birthday is next month, September 25th. Everyone, put that in your calendar. Don't forget. But it's also Mark Hamill's and Barbara Walters and Christopher Reeve. And so I'm in good company. Also Will Smith. You can't win them all. I used to be happy about Will Smith and I sharing a birthday. Now I feel like I should call, like me and Mark should call Chris Rock and apologize on behalf of this day. Anyways. That said, this is, I guess, Greg Kelly very upset that ladies get power sometimes.
The MAGA cult is based on lies. The MAGA cult is built on demonizing the media.
The MAGA cult around Donald Trump.
At the moment, there is no Republican Party. There is a MAGA cult of personality.
These guys.
By the way, Greg, Booby, you should just let this one lie. You of all fucking people should just take your hands off the table, just back away slowly, because you're patient fucking zero for people who would crawl through broken glass to suck the shit off of Trump's taint weekly. So don't, if this is your attack point, we're walking down a really dark alley, dum-dum.
Guys, they don't understand us. They don't understand Trump. I bet
nobody does, you dumbass. You're weird. That's the point. I don't understand what the fucking that is. I don't understand why you're always looking at your desk. I don't understand why you get angry at people in your office if they sit in your lounger in the office, even if they're your guest at the station, enough to make it a segment on your fucking show. I don't know if you guys remember that. At one point, I forget who it was. Somebody came, Sean Spicer came over and took a picture sitting in this Barca lounger this asshole has in his office, and as a joke. And Greg Kelly was so pissed, he showed it, and he's like, people think it's funny, that they come in there, they're like, they think they're going to upset me, and I'm not upset. It's just, you don't ask. He was actually angry, like the fucking weaselly turd he is.
none of them ever watched a Trump rally, especially.
Hey, asshole, I will co-sign everything that they're saying, and I've seen more Trump rallies than you have, dipshit. Greg Kelly, toe-to-toe, motherfucker. I guarantee I've seen more Trump rallies end to end, all the way through, than you have. No question. And I'll even include the early ones when he was borderline making at least complete sentences. My long-term chatters have seen more Trump rallies than he has.
Luke Skywalker.
His name is Mark Hamill. That's a character he played. When you're accused of not being tethered to reality, it would be helpful. Never mind.
Haven't. They don't know what they're talking about.
They know exactly what they're talking about, stupid. But explain it to us.
Donald Trump talks about issues all the time.
Does he? He talks about issues all the time? What issues did he talk about? People coming from mental institutions across the border? Crazy people? Rapists and murderers who are taking black jobs? Because apparently that's the biggest job black people have is raper. And apparently they make a living wage at it, so it's enough to draw immigrants here to steal that rapey job. What?
The media, they feast on other things, right? But
They feast on other things. No, not right. I don't know what you're talking about.
know, if you're on his side and you've been watching, that he has pretty compelling solutions for our problems. It's not a
He does. He's got pretty compelling solutions. What? Drill, baby, drill? Seal the border? Explain to me how that works. What's drill, baby, drill? This is 9,000 unused leases the oil companies have, right? 9,000. Plus, by the way, more than 9,000, but at least 9,000 unused leases. So what does drill, baby, drill mean? Does that mean he forces through the federal government through like taxation or threats of heightened regulation or legal maneuvers or seizing the oil industry by the government to make oil companies create more of a product than they can sell so that they lower the price, which goes against their fiduciary duty to their investors. So he, as a Republican president, is going to force them to overproduce their product. So if he can do that to oil, why can't he do it to everybody else? What company is then free from government coercion if Donald Trump can force oil companies to drill, baby, drill? What does that mean? How? How? That's the compelling solution. It's the how. It's not just what you call it, you dumb motherfucker.
a cult of personality. This is
You're a cult of personality. And again, a montage of extremity that is not the Democratic Party, because you're just taking. Why don't I just put up like January 6th and fucking the Jews will not replace us and fucking I don't know, Blair. Here we'll put Blair White right here, right? We'll put Nick Fuentes over here. We'll have a bunch of people like I don't know, like the guy with the Confederate flag walking through the rotunda. Why don't I just make a picture that isn't that representative of the Republican Party? Asshole, this ain't an answer. Also, I don't even know what the fuck is happening up here.
an agenda to fix what's wrong in America. You can call it MAGA, make America great again.
Well, I gotta say, if I think of MAGA, I do think of like shit and chaos and craziness, because whatever you say Trump's gonna do, what happened during his last year in office was a fucking shitstorm. It was just like so much of the pictures of like, this is Joe Biden's America occurred in Trump's presidency.
You know, sometimes they'll say, oh, you MAGA people, you don't know the policies. Well, we do.
Okay, great. Tell me this is it, baby. All right. He knows. In the fight to restore America, MAGA. They know the policies. What's the policy, baby? I'm so excited. Greg, we're a minute in to a 15-minute clip. I don't need to waste my whole fucking time, so kill it, baby. That's right. Tell it. Here it comes. The policies and how they actually, not the name of the policy, but what the actual policy is. Let's hear it.
They're pretty simple. For me,
great. They're pretty simple for you. I just lost all hope that we're going to. Okay, go ahead.
the border, sexualization of children we don't like, and endless wars. Those are the big three. But what about it?
Okay, the border. There was a border bill. It was a compromise between Republicans and Democrats. It would have been signed into law. He specifically told maggots not to vote for it. If you think it's that big a problem, it was the number one thing you answered. If you even think the border bill isn't doing enough, you still pass it because it's an emergency. Because even if it's a Band-Aid, you can go, we got that through our side, negotiated, we got a lot of conservative things, but when I'm office, it will be this, 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 right? But no, he didn't want to do that because he thought it would actually work and it would take that away from him. So he doesn't give a fuck who gets across the border. Terrorists, drugs, rapists, people from insane asylums. He specifically told Republicans, don't vote for it. I want that to continue. He said, I will take credit for killing the border bill. So any fentanyl that got through after the time when the funding for that bill that would have paid for machines to detect the fentanyl coming across the border, any of the fentanyl that passes after that is all on Donald Trump 100%. Nobody had 100% of the blame up to this point because it's a very complex issue. But from that point forward, Donald Trump claimed it as his fucking own. Okay, the sexualization of children. Okay, fuckwad, listen. Tell you what, when you do a montage on the number of right-wing youth pastors or fucking Trump appointees or campaign people that have been arrested for child porn or having sex with children, who Trump still included in his campaign after they were charged, just that, you don't have to do all of them. Just the ones that are still being asked to work with them after they were charged and then they were found guilty. And then we'll talk about your concerns about the sexualization of children. Because I got to tell you, a kid being trans is not the sexualizing of that child. There's a lot more to your life than your gender or your biological sex. Your humanity and your character are a much bigger part of who you are. But if there's one of those things is standing in the way of your expression as a human being, then answering that can complete your road to being a full human being. I mean, and again, this is just an easy thing to grab onto because they can sell this idea that Democrats are trying to turn your boys into girls and your girls into boys. It's fucking stupid. But if you want to talk about that, I'm down. Let's have a sit down about it. But you got to start talking about all the youth pastors that are getting busted for having sex with kids and for organizing groups trading child porn. And you need to talk about the number of people who are in the Trump organization and the Trump campaign that actively were engaged in this kind of shit. Because it's in the dozens and you haven't covered fucking one. And then what was the third one? I forgot. It was also fucking stupid.
Border, sexualization of children, we don't like, and endless wars.
Okay, endless wars. Joe Biden hasn't started a new war. Vladimir Putin started a new war, and we're helping an ally. Hamas started a new war, and we're helping an ally. But let me be abundantly clear. You know how we know at this point that globalist is just a code word for Jews? You know, I'm sure there are some people who use globalist in a way that they don't mean it. There's like 3 of those people. Everybody else, when they say globalist, they are specifically, they mean the Jews that run the world. The people who say globalist mean that in World War II, Jews were on both sides and they were funding the whole thing and then they made money off of it. So that, let's be abundantly clear. The whole globalist thing is just a cover for Jews. Endless wars is also meaning fuck the Middle East, Jews and all, let them kill each other. The endless wars part are the religious wars. There are no other endless wars. World War II was not an endless war. Even Afghanistan, it fucking ended. Biden stopped the longest war we'd ever had. Biden brought it to a close. And you guys do nothing but shit on him for getting us out of Afghanistan. And according to Trump, we were going to get out with beauty and grace, but we were going to stay because we're going to keep Bagram. Well, there's no fucking way that you keep Bagram without fighting all the time. Because the area that Bagram is in, north of Kabul, is completely fucking surrounded by ISIS. Who do you think the fucking suicide bomber was, dipshit? So, fuck you on the border. You don't know what you're talking about, and the wall made it worse. Sexualization of children is, it's like caring about, it's like saying you're pro-life and you don't give a fuck about, like, 30-round magazines and fucking AR-15s and crazy people being able to get guns and no rules on red flag laws and no comprehensive background checks and all that kind of shit. Like, fuck you, you don't care. Stop pretending to care. You only care about it in ways that, in areas where it makes the people you're trying to appeal to squeamish. That's the only time you give a shit about it. And endless wars, what you mean is the Middle East. fuck the Jews, fuck Israel, we shouldn't be backing them, it's all going to fall apart, it's a waste of time, and screw them. That's what you mean. That's what he means. This is Greg Kelly saying, fuck the Jews, fuck Israel. Because as soon as Israel collapses, then all the Jews will have to run up to Armageddon, the hillside, and stand there, and Jesus will come back and give them one last chance to accept him as their Lord and Savior. And then if they say no, they'll get their throat slit, and then he'll get about the business of sending, I don't know, horsemen to kill all the Muslims. That's how that story plays out. The end of Israel is the beginning of Christendom. So in certain Christian circles, and cycles, I guess, in certain Christian circles, bringing about the end of Israel is calling Jesus's bluff. And 56 Nick Rich, Crusaders 2.0. No, the Crusaders ultimately themselves weren't part and parcel to that. That's a whole nother story. It might be like neo-crusaders or people who view them as such, but they're lazy, dopey fucks like him.
Those are the big three. But what about everything else? Here's a little clever, maybe not so mnemonic device. We call it
Oh my God. This is where he stacks up Victory USA. And these are the issues. Also, by the way, those are not policies. Those are issues, or even just, I mean, in many ways, they're just kind of words and phrases that trigger people. Border is not a policy, right? No endless wars. How do you bring them to a close? What are you talking about? Which ones are endless? What do you mean? He can't even articulate what he means by endless wars.
Victory USA, okay?
Oh, what a dipshit.
Okay? This pretty much sums up the MAGA agenda, all right? Let's start with victory.
Sure. Winning at all cost.
The V is for voter ID. Who has a problem with
Nobody has a problem with voter ID, but it should be federal. You should get a national ID card that has all your hiring information on it, that has a strict rule about misuse. So if somebody steals it or steals your social security number in that same way, that there's a mandatory 5 years in jail, and no state entity can take it away from you. So you can always use it as identification. It also should either be associated with your iris or your thumbprint, so that it's on file, so that even if you lose it or it gets destroyed or whatever, you can still be identified through your ID as a U.S. citizen by your iris or your thumbprint. But they view that as the mark of the beast, and so they won't allow for that. Immigration, okay.
with that? Who could? I for immigration, the border, crime.
Wait a minute. Again, these aren't policies, fuckhead. Immigration, border, we have a border. Are you for the border bill or not?
Reduction.
Crime reduction. How? Because I'm for crime reduction. I love the idea of crime reduction, unless it involves murdering people who are suspected of being drug dealers because of a quick trial, which I would argue, when capital punishment is on the line, should be something we avoid, just so we don't make an accidental mistake and kill someone who's innocent. But I don't think crime reduction through murdering people who sell weed, for example, is a way of doing it. It would certainly technically reduce crime. Trade fair. I don't know what that means. Fair trade or free trade? What do you mean? What is fair trade? He means reciprocal tariffs, which would cost every American, and it wouldn't even, like, again, it's not even with China. He's talking about it with Europe. He's just trying to put the fucking, Italian and French wine companies out of business, and the fucking cheese, have Wisconsin put fucking French brie out of business and shit like that. Like, it's dopey. Opportunity, economic and health. What do you mean? You have the opportunity to go broke and get cancer?
Getting tough on crime.
Rights, parental censorship, meaning total free speech. So you're a free speech absolutist. So Greg is pro-child porn. Cool. And parental rights? So if a parent wants their kid to transition and get even if their kid is still a minor, they should have the right to what? Total physical transition if their kid says so and the parent agrees. That's parental rights. Hey, it's your kid. You can do whatever the fuck you want with them, I guess, right? Are you for that, Greg? Because I don't think so. Again, these are not policies. These are just words.
How about some fair
Youth, protect our kids. Well, certainly not from guns, you dumb motherfucker.
trade with China, maybe tariffs? Opportunity, economic and health. That is code for canceling Obamacare. I hope they do that.
Sorry, opportunity is code. Opportunity means canceling the Affordable Care Act so that people who have pre-existing conditions, lifelong asthma, seizures, that kind of stuff, that they can run out of, they can hit the limit and never be able to have any insurance payments ever again at some point in their life, very early if they have a lifelong chronic disease.
Parental rights, no more censorship, and yes,
no more censorship, none. By the way, what do you mean by censorship? You mean private organizations taking down tweets because you can't say Hitler was right in a thread about Jews because it affects their advertising bottom line and they get mad and take it down. So you want the government, wait. You want the government to force private groups to allow anyone to post anything they want on their site. Okay, so you want the government to force Newsmax to put my show on their website. What's the difference? Right? If Twitter thinks something's, bigoted or dangerous or might kill off their viewer base and they take it down, and the government says, nope, I don't care, you have to let them post, like a bunch of commie gobbledygook, like he's saying, then how's that different from then Newsmax has to put my show on their network? Because you're censoring me. Why is Newsmax censoring the greatest live stream in the history of the goddamn world? Why do you hate freedom, Newsmax?
protecting children. As far as USA, United States over globalism, okay? That's what we...
United States over globalism. So the Jews will not replace us.
We like the United States better than globalism. We like strength.
Also, what do you mean? Explain globalism to me. Because I think you mean like some sort of weird one world government idea, or somehow like the World Economic Forum is telling us what to do when they're fucking not. Or we would have lowered our interest rates a long time ago and we'd be fucked. Strength?
Peace through strength, and start taking action against cartels, against the swamp.
Okay, again, strength. How do you define strength? If we're not engaged with the globe, what do we need the strength for? Just defensive? Just going to wall off America, will become a gated community? And also action against cartels in the swamp. Would you think we're not arresting people? Jesus Christ, man. They just busted one of the biggest cartel guys when they lured him into the fucking country and the FBI caught him. That same organization that you want defunded because they fucking got a rightful warrant and went into Mar-a-Lago and found classified documents with human intel and empty fucking folders that were missing their classified documents, which they later found near a printer in his desk. There was a fucking copy machine in the same room where they were all boxed. That same organization, the FBI, that found all that stuff, they've been busting people in the cartels like fucking crazy. They've also, by the way, been arresting people who did damage during the Antifa riots, who did damage during the George Floyd riots, the actual rioters versus the protesters. Do you give a fuck? Of course you don't. Because if you did, then it would eat into your narrative and then you can't talk about that. Right. They're even still looking for a bunch of them. You look on the FBI's website, they're still fucking looking for a bunch of people that caused damage in Portland, #RIP Portland, and Seattle, both where I will be next week. Thursday, Seattle at the Crocodile, Friday at Dante's in Portland. Oh, my friends, it's going to be a grunge tour, a little mini Nerd Halen grunge tour. Thursday, Friday next week, and then Saturday, Sexy Liberal in Portland. Very excited, #RIP Portland. It'll be nice to play the Crater again. So again, here's the thing. He's saying this is policy. You got to take action. All right, what action? And also, are you taking the same action against the cartels in the swamp? Because according to Donald Trump, he wants to he wants to bomb Mexico. He literally is like, we'll bomb the cartels in Mexico, whether Mexico likes it or not. So is he going to bomb the swamp too? If he does, once Steve Bannon gets out of jail, he's going to want to fucking move because he lives right next to all those motherfuckers. It's almost as if he's one of them.
It all works, doesn't it? And
no, it doesn't. That's not the works, dummy. How does it work? What's the part? And by the way, define United States over globalism. What do you mean? We like the United States more than globalism. You mean America first. How? What does that mean? It's a statement. These are fucking bumpers. They're not even bumper stickers. Bumper stickers are at least charming and occasionally rhyme.
you need a guy like Trump to make it happen.
No, you don't. Because he didn't make it happen last time, and he's not going to do it this time.
Watch out.
Wait, let me fix my hair. Get my shoes. I don't want people taking pictures of my shoes because they'll see that my lifts fell out.
And that's the key, fighting. That was a great...
Why is that the key? Why is that fighting? He was shot by a Republican, dipshit. What does this have to... Again, you're just making the argument that you're not in a cult. That's how a cult reacts, you dumb motherfucker. You just, like Victory USA, I gotta tell you, Scientology has a more cogent system of explaining how you get clear than you do. This is fucking Lincoln Logs level cult bullshit.
Great moment, but we knew he was a fighter. Basically, the night of the...
We knew he was a faller. What do you mean we knew he was a fighter? He dove to the ground and he's a griper. And he was totally fine sticking his fucking fist out and going fight, fight, fight when everybody there is covering his entire internal organs and they just told him the shooter had already been shot in the fucking head.
The news reports after he declared for president, he had to fight every step of the way. Lots of people have agendas, but he fought for it.
Fought for what? The only people he fought with for that shit was the rest of the Republican Party. And he lost 40% of the Republican primary vote, in many cases to a woman who was never going to get elected by the general Republican electorate because she's brown and female. But they still voted for her after she dropped out just to say fuck you to him. That's your guys. That's your voters.
I mean, look at... Do they really mean...
Just look at
it when they say fight?
In the Senate, Democrats are going to fight like hell.
We're going to fight like hell.
So I'm going to fight like hell.
We'll fight like hell to make sure that we act.
As long as I'm president of the United States, I'm going to fight like hell.
Sure you are. Right. He's at the beach right now.
Yeah, relaxing. You know why? Because he passed an infrastructure bill, and he could, and he's part of the bill he passed is going to remove lead pipes from the drinking water in this country over the next 10 years. So he's saved somewhere in the order of 30 to 70 million lives by himself over the next 4 decades just from that action alone. Never mind people who are sitting on a bridge and it's not falling out from under them. He deserves a day at the beach, Greg, and you deserve another day on the bus.
And happy Kamala. Oh boy, she is thrilled.
Kamala. Her name is pronounced Kamala. Grieg.
Won the whole thing without doing a damn thing.
Except being a sitting senator, becoming vice president, being part of a winning ticket that trounced your guy, and then succeeding the president when he comes, which is what a vice president is supposed to do, and what you vote for when you vote for a team, that if one of them doesn't continue, the other would continue, whether it's in the context of actually being in office and they pass away and they become the president, or the next one in line. We're obviously cool with that, or they wouldn't have gotten that many votes. Or, I mean, there's always a chance that the reason why she and Biden did so well is that Trump's a massive loser and a fuck up, and his cult base is ever dwindling. So there's that.
She did not have to fight. She didn't even have to try.
Dude, she's a woman of color. She technically, as the vice president of the United States, has fewer rights than any vice president that has ever existed because she is female. Because even as the vice president, if she did not have access to, military doctors and the like, there are states where there would not be available services if she had something go wrong with her uterus and they had to argue about it. Just letting you know. Fuck you.
It's amazing. When you run for president, it's supposed to be a battle. And you come out, I'm told, kind of better for the battle.
Well, then what happened to Trump? Because he's a fucking mess.
Take a look at it. Even some presidents I don't like. George W. Bush, we got to give him this. He declared he ran for president for a year and a half. I mean, that's what they do.
And he lost. But the Supreme Court gave it to him.
What you got to do if you want the big job.
He was also one of the dumbest presidents we've ever had. He didn't get better. Show the shit that happened after he became president. I spent a year and a half in there. It didn't stop him from going, fool me once, won't get fooled again. Right? It didn't stop him from trying to walk out locked doors. He could dodge a shoe like a motherfucker, though. I'll give him that.
Job, right? Even Obama, almost 2 years at it, right? This is how it works, everybody. Trump, 2 campaigns. The first one, almost a year and a half. The second one that he's in right now, 2 years.
Right. He declared early because he got a notice that he was going to be indicted, and he thought by being a candidate, that would protect him. That it's not a good idea to draw attention to the fact that he declared that early, because it points out, like, why would he have to do that? If he's that popular and they like him, why would he have to start officially campaigning so early? It's because the Department of Justice, because he has Secret Service protection, and because he was a former president, notified him that he was going to be indicted, and he decided, I'll start running early to protect myself, to claim that they are coming after me because I am running. So before they hand me the indictment, I'm going to declare my presidency. That's why the 2 years, dum-dum.
2 years. And they just gave it to Kamala.
Kamala, you tit.
Didn't have to fight to get it. She doesn't have to fight to keep it. She's just going to be...
Yeah, she does. And by the way, you do realize if the public thinks this, none of us have to vote for her, but most of us are. A lot more than are going to vote for your dumbass.
Sitting pretty this whole way. I think that's the plan. And
she is very pretty. That is true. I think she's standing in that picture, but...
There's a chance they could get away with it. We are going to fight like hell, of course.
Also, get away with what? She's still got to win the election, dummy. If she bamboozled the Democratic Party, then that's on us. Then Democrats will go, what the hell? I'm voting for Trump. This is horrifying. Clutch the pearls. None of us are doing that. That's what's freaking you out. Good Lord. And we're supposed to believe that this asshole is really worried about us? Oh my God, the Democrats are having their choices taken away from them. You're kidding, right? Trump lost 40% of the vote, and he didn't engage in debates with the other candidates at all. Biden got like 80 to 90% the entire time. That's why you guys keep saying he got 14 million votes. Fucking nobody came close. Dean Phillips didn't come close. RFK Jr. certainly fucking didn't. Certainly Marianne Williamson didn't.
Of course. You know, in retrospect, we got to give Joe Biden a little bit of credit. Just a little bit. You know, when he was in the basement, all cooped up?
Hey, asshole. Basements aren't at ground level. See what's behind that? See why they have the black curtains up, shithead? It's because those are doors that open onto the backyard. He's not in a basement. You know who was in the basement, though, about this time? Donald Trump. Yeah, he ran down into the bunker underneath the White House because he was afraid that the protesters were going to charge in there, and he wanted to see if it was a good place to hide.
I mean, this was a form of cheating, right? Hiding from...
No. It was smart. It was strategic. There was a contagious disease going everywhere. It almost killed your dude. It made him prematurely demented. You can argue that Trump catching COVID is part of the reason why his brain is failing as bad as it is, because he caught it when there was no vaccine yet.
From the campaign trail, at least the guy did interviews, and technically they asked him questions. I mean, it was rehearsed, it was canned. He
No, it wasn't.
had a teleprompter, but at least they went through the motions.
I'm wondering what you think of the idea of opening up by Easter, packing churches, and how long do you expect people will have to actually self-isolate?
Well, look, based on the data I'm getting from the medical experts.
Mr. Vice President, what?
And by the way, you're supposed to show him using a teleprompter. And when he says, based on the data I'm getting from medical experts, he picks up a piece of paper to relay the data that he is getting. So he's not just going, I'm talking out of my ass like Captain Light Bulb Up the Ass
What do you
is.
make of the president's daily briefings that sometimes last over 2 hours and have his top scientists there, but appear to be used for a lot of different reasons?
Even
with these softball questions, he still struggles.
Oh, and again, trying to find a way to talk about the craziness of the Trump world, especially when you're running for office, must be, especially back then, but must be very challenging in this regard because it is so fucking nuts. And again, how do you find a way? A lot of times politicians, what they do is they hear the question and then they try to dovetail their answer into what they really want to be talking about. But Donald Trump's shit was so far out in the fucking yonders that getting it back even to normal track on its topic was difficult, much less on your own. So, and they always do this. They cut him off in when he's saying stuff or when he's considering what's being said. Or I'll show you.
Struggled, but he took questions. Kamala.
He also didn't struggle. You're not showing him struggle. And also, the struggle that you were just fucking showing him was him struggling to articulate, like a lot of us do, what the fuck is Donald Trump doing? What does it mean? How the hell he's supposed to be doing these briefings? He doesn't pay attention. They're afraid to share details with him in some cases because he shares them over fucking chocolate cake at Mar-a-Lago within earshot of God knows fucking who. It boggles the mind. Like, by the way, what's crazy is, and this is how you can prove, again, back on the theme that it's a fucking cult, is that Greg Kelly thinks it's easy to explain. This is just America First. America First. Like he has these Pavlovian responses.
Literally, all she's got to do, as if she's like Princess Diana, get on the airplane, the ceremony. Ooh, look at her. What a girl boss. That soldier just saluted her. Going up the plane.
She's the sitting vice president, you tit.
And watch how she waves, right? This is like a royalty thing. I know all presidents, vice presidents do this, but there's...
Look at that. This is so gross. I mean, they all do it, but it's gross when she does it. I think because she's brown and a female. I think that's what it is. My God.
A little bit much. Hello, you peasants. Yes, I'm not going to be talking to you.
Holy shit. At least she's waving to actual people. Trump waves to literally no one. You don't think that's odd? That more proof Greg Kelly's in a cult. She's waving to actual people before she gets on the plane, right? He's waving, and you can see there's no one there.
Anytime soon, is she going to be able to take the swamp? The swamp is going to take her. If she gets in there, and I really hope she doesn't, this whole system is going to turn on her at some point, and she...
Why? What are you talking about? I thought the swamp works with Democrats.
Well, she'll be owned by them. She wouldn't...
Again, why? Why would she be? Why would they have to own her? Isn't she on the same page as they are? I mean, aren't you? Isn't the argument against her from the right that she wants to lead all these like left-leaning deep state people, and she's exactly the person they're installing her because they're all like-minded?
Didn't dare fight them. Kamala versus 9.1 million employees.
How many were there when Trump took office? Same number? How many were there when he left? Same number? What are you talking about? This is so weird.
You know who could take it? because he's taken it before.
JD Vance. Wait, what it are we talking about? I was just thinking like that drone with a penis on it that I saw, and never mind.
Trump, okay, the guy is, one of the many reasons why they're so afraid of him is because
he's an adjudicated rapist and a fraudster, and he shared national secrets with the Russians and got 2 of our agents and probably 3 other Israeli agents murdered. And he sucks up to every authoritarian in the world and tries to undermine NATO. And because he's financially, he needs Russian money and Chinese money to stay afloat, or he's fucked. Now Saudi money even more so. That's not why. I'm kidding. What are you saying? Something about they're scared of him because parental rights.
he has the experience at this point.
He does. What? First of all, did he need it before? I think that was the whole point of being an outsider. So you're saying he's running as an insider. He knows now how to control these people, right?
To actually do it. And
do what? Do what, you absolute weirdo? Honest to God, I don't know what the fuck Greg has said so far. Does anybody know what this, other than reading off that weird little list of letters, does anybody know what the fuck Greg is talking about at all? I honestly don't know. This is increasingly odd. It just seems like it's like refrigerator magnets of grievance from the Jesse Waters collection, and he just tripped on his way across the kitchen, and they all just stuck on the fucking fridge, and he's just reading them in whatever order they came up. It's odd, is it not? Chat room, does anybody? I mean, it's a bunch of gross shit, and it definitely is. It's kind of thematically in the zone of MAGA land, right? But there's just nothing there. It's shockingly nothing there. Like it looks like he's filling time. I've seen Greg. I've seen Glenn Beck do this a few times. You and I know we've watched some Glenn Beck videos, and you're like, clearly when he's making himself yawn, and he's like, I just got to fill the time until the break. That's what this feels like, except Greg really means it. Like, Glenn Beck is arguably Machiavellian and full of shit. He's a flim-flam man. But Greg feels like he's bored with his own cult. And by the way, Michael, thank you for the super chat. My goodness. Thank you so much. And Talk Soup, you lovely person. And Deanne, thank you. And Lisa, thank you so much. And Christine, thank you guys for the super chats and the Venmos and the stuff like that and the Patreon and all that. All right. Now, let's back to where we were. I still, honest to God, like, this is kind of amazing. I don't even know what this fucking point is. Like, Trump took on the bureaucracy of 9.1 million federal workforce throughout the nation, right? Who are these people that he supposedly knows how to handle?
The swamp is a crazy, scary place these days.
Explain. What do you mean? What swamp? What's crazy and scary about the swamp? What's swampy about it, dum-dum? What do you mean? What do you even fucking mean? Explain the swamp to me. That's just first principles. You're a big Elon Musk suck-up, right? The fuck are you talking about? Just fucking... Hold on. I'm almost at this point where I'm like, say swamp again, motherfucker. Say swamp again. What the fuck are you talking about? Swamp. Swamp this, you piece of shit. Swamp. What do you mean? Drain the swamp. What? So the alligators can walk around and eat the fish as they lay on the ground? Jesus Christ, he built a brand new fucking swamp. Why would you expect a dude who moved to Florida right after he left office to drain any fucking swamp? It's like he moved down there because he missed it. Jesus Christ. Say swamp again, you dipshit. Say swamp again. Say swamp again, motherfucker. Say swamp again.
Think about it. Since last month, a lot of us believe a good portion of the government must have had something to do with President Trump, the attempted assassination.
A good portion of it? What, the Department of Transportation? Who? Who was the big? It was a big coordination between the FAA and the USDA. Who coordinated with it? By the way, if they were coordinating on this, you think they'd miss, you dumb motherfucker? I'm dead serious. If I'm supposed to be scared of the swamp and the deep state and the federal and blah and the globalists and da-da-da, and they were behind the Trump assassination and they couldn't hit that fat dopey motherfucker as slow as he moves and as predictable as he is, why should I be, explain to me why I should be scared of the deep state or the swamp or the federal government or the CIA or the FBI or the DNI or any of these people, right? If they can't hit that dumb motherfucker. Because if they were coordinating it, they meant to miss. In which case, what were they trying to do for him? Were they trying to scare him to put RFK on the ticket? Or were they trying to like help him win? Because honest to God, you think they would actually, that Joe Biden and big government are in cahoots and they missed? The only way they could miss is if they wanted to miss. If it was that kind of a coordinated thing, right? The only way they could miss is if they wanted to miss.
And the coup against Joe Biden.
Wasn't a coup. Wasn't a coup. It's not a coup. He's still president of the United States, by the way. Coups usually involve the military and you getting removed from office and replaced. He's not. She's still got to win the election, dummy. That's why it's not a coup.
What's Kamala going to do up against this stuff?
Legislate, navigate, communicate.
She's going to go along with it, okay? She'll have no choice, no trouble. She'll make no trouble, whatever.
What? So, I'm sorry. So, at this point, the deep state organized a coup against Joe Biden and tried to assassinate Trump and missed so that they could scare Kamala Harris into doing what she's already going to do. Because she's a big commie. Okay. I'm getting increasingly lost. I didn't think that was possible. This is getting, I mean, obviously I never expected him to clarify, but I didn't expect him to get dumber as we got along or more disconnected. Can anybody follow who's in charge of they want Kamala or they don't? Did they shoot at Trump because they were trying to kill him and because they want her in place, or because they can control her, or they had to take a shot at, they couldn't control Joe, so they had to take a shot at Trump because they couldn't control him, but they missed? All right, I got nothing. I can't make this work, Greg. I can't do it. None of us can. None of us can this Gordian knot of logistical fucking ropey turds you put together, we're all lost. It just stinks and we want to walk away.
She'll get on the plane and she'll wave. And by the way, this plane thing is a big deal. Take a look at this video. Every time she got on Air Force Two, she had her social media director take a picture of it. Like, look at me, I'm a girl boss and I'm getting on my own plane.
They do this with fucking J.D. Vance, and he's not even VP yet. What are you talking about? They all do this.
This is one of the reasons you want somebody like Donald Trump who's not dazzled by all the silly toys you get when you're president.
What? By the way, isn't that the helicopter that went down with two of his partners in it? His casino buddies that died, the ones who knew that his father was giving him a $15 million loan by buying a bunch of chips and never bringing them back. Basically just throwing them in the ocean so he could keep the money.
This guy's been flying in his own plane and helicopter since the 1980s.
Yeah, and it smells like aqua velva and hot dog water. Jesus Christ. It's a dump. He doesn't pay his fuel bills. He doesn't service the fucking thing.
40 years. And don't forget this.
By the way, that's when his dad ran the company. His dad owned that plane. That is not Donald Trump's plane. That is Fred Trump's helicopter. That was all that money was all Fred Trump's. In 1988, that wasn't his. He was just a fucking passenger. He was a second generation rich kid.
One of the biggest challenges he has, jealous people. So
that's what it is. Yeah, that's true. Man, they wish they were as fit and as loved as he is. They wish they could be on flags with their head on Rocky's body. They wish they could sell NFT cards to gullible dipshits. If you buy 75 of them for $99 a piece, you can go to dinner and he'll sign a baseball card for you.
These guys had to get into power to get all that stuff. They had to become.
Okay, first of all, certainly not him. I mean, he was the head of the CIA during the 60s and you know, vice president and then president, whatever. But the rest of these guys also, none of these guys, and I have problems with a couple of them, obviously that guy in the middle and the guy on the end, none of them started their careers denying black people the right to rent in their buildings.
Become president to get their own plane and helicopter. Sometimes it's as simple as that.
Ew. First of all, why would you lick your lips the idea of having a helicopter? You weirdo. Secondly, you think that's what they like? You think that's the best part? I got news for you. Clinton's cigars weren't fancy. You know what I'm saying? And the rest of these guys seem to be enjoying the simple life. Obama's definitely got some money and he's using it well. He's living the high life and he's earned it. And I'm happy for him. He and Michelle are doing just fine. But they didn't get it because they were president. They got it afterwards.
And this swamp thing, the more time goes by, the more we're learning actually in real time what's happening. It's amazing.
What is that? What swamp thing? That, I mean, I appreciate it. You know, Adrian Barbeau, whatever. Yeah.
You used to have to wait decades. When Richard Nixon went down for Watergate, well, he covered up the break-in of the Democrat National Headquarters, correct? Right. And he used law enforcement incorrectly. No, way more complicated. It looks like the deep state tried to do him in because he was making peace with China and the Soviet Union.
Which you're for, I guess, now. Because we're not talking about Russia and you know, imperial China. We're talking about communist China and the USSR. So the deep state was protecting America from our president getting too cozy with commies. Now, that's the story?
And they didn't want that. Here's the 37th president.
What? And you do?
A few years after retiring.
Do you think there was or could have been a CIA conspiracy to remove you from office?
I think I never really thought the things I think I was hit with an anti-Jew ray, which is why I would wander around on tape yelling about Jews and drinking and screaming at paintings.
Don't know. I know many people think so. I would say that I've found it difficult to understand why the CIA, which apparently had advanced knowledge of the break-in, didn't inform me. I must say, too, the CIA had motive. It was no secret.
Sorry. The CIA had advanced knowledge that your operatives were going to break into the Democratic National Committee headquarters, and they didn't let you know that your operatives were about to break in to the Democratic National Headquarters. Wouldn't you think that did they tip off the guard? Is that the idea? They just waited? Why didn't they let me know that I was gonna get caught? What?
that I was dissatisfied with the CIA, with its reports, and particularly with their appraisals of Soviet strength and our other problems around the world.
You think they feared you?
No question about it, and they had reason to. I was going to shape up that organization and the Defense Department, the whole government for that matter.
Wow. Wow.
Wow, what a guy. So I was going to, and how are you going to do that? Well, get the Jews out for one.
Oh, isn't that incredible?
No, it's not. It's a disgraced ex-president painting back like over his failings.
This has not received nearly enough attention from historians and beyond.
Because it is simply his emotional take on it and his bullshit trying to rehab his image. Did the operatives break in at his order and as part of the the attempt to reelect him? Yes. Did he know about it beforehand? Yes. Did he allow for it to happen? Was it a coordinated effort with his campaign? Yes. Who gives a fuck what he thinks about the CIA? And why, again, would the CIA tell him that his operatives were breaking into the DNC if they knew about it? Why, by the way, the CIA doesn't do shit inside the United States. They might be aware of it, but that's not their jurisdiction. And at that time, which was very pre-9/11, the CIA and the FBI did not coordinate on a bunch of things, and they certainly didn't go tattle on the fucking president to the FBI.
I wish he could have updated Trump. You know, they were friends. They actually...
Yeah, turds of a feather.
They were friends. They lived on the...
Yeah, him, Roy Cohn, Jeffrey Epstein. He knows all the best people, Greg.
Same block for a period of time. It happened to Nixon. It's happened to Trump. It's...
He got caught red-handed, and he recognized in front of the country that he was a disgrace, unlike Trump.
It's happening to Trump. These three-letter agencies all over the place. Do you trust them? You shouldn't.
Yes, I do.
I can't believe it. I still feel kind of weird calling out the FBI and the CIA and all these agencies. I grew up thinking that they were the good guys.
They are, but you're in a cult. Back to our initial premise, Greg.
No, they're not. I mean, Comey and Wray, the last two FBI directors, the stuff that they pulled. Let's start with Comey.
Yeah. Tell me what Comey did. He got Trump elected with his little announcement about Hillary Clinton. Trump owes his presidency to James Comey. And then he fired him because he was afraid he was gonna catch him in his fucking footsie with the Russians. So he got rid of him, and then he put this guy in. I don't want to hear about any problem you have with this fucking guy is on Trump. He picked him. He didn't have to replace Comey. He chose to, and he replaced him with this fucking guy. I mean, at this point, stop breaking the law, asshole!
Ran that crossfire hurricane operation to get Trump, and they bragged about it to each other, boasting about their power. Strzok, Page, this infamous, they should have rebranded the FBI right then and there. You're going to stop an election?
No. Stop him as president because they knew he was engaged with the Russians. They knew he was colluding, to use the word Trump seems to hate more than any other. They knew he was colluding with the Russians.
They did, or tried to, and they got $2 million. $2 million for their trouble. You know what the FBI is supposed to do for elections? None of this stuff. They have a very specified role when it comes to election stuff. It's this.
The FBI investigates federal election crimes that generally fall into three categories: campaign finance crimes, vote...
Right. That would be Russian money finding its way into the Trump campaign through a myriad of angles, including the NRA.
Ballot fraud, and civil rights.
Right. There was ballot fraud, not enough to change the election. Most of it was Trumpies trying to vote twice.
Rights violations.
Wow, that's pretty dry, and that's A-OK. That's what it says in the rule book. But what do they really do? They're out of control. Just ask Mark Zuckerberg. He's said it before, and he's saying it again in writing, but who remembers the Joe Rogan moment?
there was a lot of attention on Twitter during the election because of the Hunter Biden laptop story. The New York
we
Post.
had that too.
Yeah, so you guys censored that as well?
Basically, the background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. There was we thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant.
How about that? That's
Yeah, it seems pretty cut and dry. You can be vigilant and still post a story you think is real, but they knew it wasn't. By the way, hey, Greg, you ever seen the laptop? Hey, Zuckerberg, you ever seen the laptop? Hey, Joe Rogan, have you ever seen the laptop? I guarantee you've got dozens of pictures on your phone of meals you've had. You've got dozens of pictures at your disposal of meals strangers have fucking had. We live in the most photographed time in history, and nobody's ever fucking seen this thing. Except me, of course, in my chat room. Who has it right now? Who has it in the chat room right now? Somebody's got to be keeping track on it, right?
It's not fighting election fraud. That's election interference. That's election fraud right there.
No, it isn't. You've never seen the laptop. You don't even know what you're talking about. It doesn't exist. There is no Hunter Biden laptop. Eat me.
They busted. Now, Zuckerberg, for whatever reason, is now putting this in writing. It's one thing to say it on a podcast, but now he lawyered up and had Facebook send an official letter to the House Judiciary Committee.
Also, this has nothing to do with the election stuff. 2020, what they were talking about in that last one, that was when Trump was fucking president and ran everything. Joe Biden was a private citizen at that time. This is about COVID.
In 2021, senior officials from the Biden administration
repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID-19 content. Not all of it, not what kind specifically. And also pressured to what end? What was the pressure?
Including the White House, repeatedly pressured our teams, Facebook teams, for months to censor certain COVID-19.
Okay, first of all, I got to say for the record, I am now bored with Greg and annoyed because he has just rambled down another alleyway of nonsense. And the issue I have most of all with Greg, and I went over time again, even though I started early, the biggest issue I have with this is that he's trailing off into like well-tread territory of bullshit that I've covered a dozen fucking times at least, even just on his show, much less everywhere else, that means nothing. I've covered it so many fucking times, but I was promised, Greg, with that video, was Kamala Harris wants the world to know she's a girl boss, which apparently you got entirely because there are 6 videos of her walking up the stairs to an airplane that you don't think she deserves to be on because she's a woman of color who's the vice president of the United States of America. You fucking tool. Other than that, I have no opinion. You're watching House Parks Mega Worldwide, the greatest live stream that has ever existed in the history of live streams. Tomorrow, by the way, I've got my family FaceTime, so the show will be on an hour later in the afternoon. It's at 4 o'clock, but I will be coming on earlier so that I can do yet another Project 2025 episode. And I apologize if those are a little bit dry, but I am committed to making sure that they are available as single videos in the future for Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, all those. We're going to chapter those out specifically, and then there you go. And you can always fast forward past them or join me later. But I'll do that earlier and at off times so it's not conflicting with the regular shows. But I want to get all those videos. I want to go through all of them as dry as they are, because I want people to be aware that Donald Trump is all over those things, that the people involved in them are all over these things, and that they have a cogent strategy that they intend to carry out in the transition and in the White House, basically where the Heritage Foundation puppets Donald Trump and he just agrees to do whatever they want for whatever they're going to pay him with after the fact. So there you go. I love you guys, and thank you so much. And yes, it's very 1984. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And don't forget, always take care of the kidney.
The kidney has a very special place in the heart.
Yeesh.